like walking up to the car and seeing the cream leather through the clear glass. I like opening the door to the rich smell of the leather. The car's a really solid feel to it. It's got no rattles or squeaks. It's a car that I enjoy taking a second glance at, and I see it as something as a future classic, and hopefully others do too. Hello folks, it's Ian off of TartanCarMe. This is my 2005 Honda Accord Estate. This model is a Mark 7, also known as a model CL7, as the Mark 7 in Japan and Europe is different from the Mark 7 in America. So my previous car shamefully was on a lease, and I knew it was ending obviously in a few months, and that's when the search for a new car began a few months ago. I had earmarked a few different makes and models on various websites, just keeping a check on what popped up, what was available. All the cars I was looking at, I wanted it to be a dad spec. Some people are questioning what a dad spec is. It's something basically with a beige interior and a wood panel trim. Something that's comfortable, reliable, that does all the stuff for the family, is roomy, economical. So the cars I had in mind were either a Mercedes C-Class or E-Class, Subaru Legacies, Saab 9.3 or 9.5s, and one of these as well was on the list. I did want something a bit older, between kind of 2005, 2010. Older cars just interest me. They've got a bit more character. You don't see as many of them about anymore. And it's a bit of nostalgia, I suppose, as well. So when this one came up on the market, it was the right time and the right place. I kind of jumped on it. The guy who was selling it thankfully held it for me. I contacted him a week previously, and he was thankful enough to him that he held it for me, because I know there was quite a bit of interest in it. Thankfully, when I did go to look at the car, it lived up to the expectation. The interior is pretty much immaculate. I'll struggle to find any marks on the interior, and likewise for the exterior, there's very, very minor marks on it, stuff that can be easily rectified. But again, having to remember this car is 20 years old and I am going to use it as a daily, it's held up remarkably well. You know, it's not just a 10-foot car. You can actually get up close and admire the paintwork that's held up, and there's very little blemishes. And even down to the little details like the original dealership number plates and the original dealership keyring that came with it just signaled to me that this car's been well looked after, got full service history. So the big plus points for this car for me are obviously the interior and the contrast with the exterior colour. You've got the grey over beige or cream leather. The other thing that sold me about this car was the fact that it's all clear glass right round. It just makes the car look a more clean, and it makes it just stand out a wee bit. The other features in the car I liked were the fact that it is a diesel. It's a 2.2 turbo diesel. It's very low mileage. When I picked it up, it had 78,000 miles. It's now got just over 80,000 miles on it. It also has a manual gearbox, which these Accords are quite hard to come by in manual. That was the main standout features to me. The previous owner did have different alloy wheels on it. When I seen it advertised, I knew that was one of the first things I wanted to change. There were darker coloured wheels off a Mark 8 Civic, so they were kind of new style wheel, but I wanted something a bit more period correct. So you may notice that these are from an FN2 Civic Type R. They're 18-inch alloys, and they're of the same era of Honda. So I got those, quite fortunately, only an hour away from where I picked the car up. Again, it was one of these right time, right place moments where I kept looking online in different websites to see what alloys I could get. I had these in mind. I had a look at other Mark 7 Accord alloys, but none of them really did it for me. And I had seen someone else had put this wheel combination on the car, and I think the silver wheel stands out against the grey paintwork. And as I say, I wrapped them in Bridgestone tyres just to know that they're pretty good to go. I do have to keep reminding myself that this car is actually 20 years old, and it does come with quite a lot of features for its age, so much so I actually had to write down a list. So excuse me while I try and rhyme off what I've got here. So bearing in mind, as I say, the car is 20 year old, what you do get with it, you get factory sat-nav, cruise control, automatic wipers, front heated and electrically adjustable front seats, an electric roof, a premium sound system, albeit it was premium 20 years ago and things have moved on since then, but the stereo is still okay. Got rear parking sensors, a remote opening and closing boot lid, which was made famous by the iconic Honda Accord advert when this car was released. They had an advert which featured a Rube Goldberg machine, which is basically a big chain reaction, and the chain reaction featured different parts of the car, which ultimately led to, I think it was a wheel rolling on to the key fob, and then that automatically closed the boot. Go and look it up if you haven't seen it. It's got a rear factory dog guard or dog net. It's got the factory boot liner. It's got loads of room inside, including some extra storage under the boot. In the rear as well, boot, you've got hooks and 12-volt sockets. In addition to that, I've owned the car now for about a month and a half, and I've actually noticed some things you don't get with it. You don't get an aerial on the roof, which isn't a bad thing because it makes the car very clean with the crisp lines. The aerial is actually integrated into the rear 3/4 windows. You don't actually get any MPG calculator on the trip computer, but I believe this did come in the later models. I've not really worked out the MPG, to be honest. The diesel obviously was a bonus because it's a bit more efficient. I'm full tank, I think, gets me about 550 miles, which I'm quite happy with. Being an earlier model as well, it has no DPF with diesel particulate filter, which means there's less hassle with the maintenance. There's no storage hook for your fuel filler cap. Whether I'm just missing it or I'm not seeing it, I don't know. I've struggling to see how you can hook on your fuel filler cap in the door. There's no door pockets for the passengers in the rear. No automatic lights, which I believe were available on the Volkswagens of the same time. And there's no 6th gear. It's just 5 gears only. However, it is very long geared. I can sit on the motorway at 70 miles an hour at about 2,000 revs. It's relatively quiet. It's definitely built for cruising. It only has in the region of about 140 brake horsepower, but what you do get is plenty of torque, so it's good for overtaking, and it's more than competent to keep up with the modern traffic. Since owning the car, apart from the wheels, I have changed the manifold in the engine bay. I realised that it was cracked because some fumes, exhaust fumes, were coming into the cabin, and I did a bit of research and realised that that was a weakness, that the manifolds were prone to cracking. So I sourced a reinforced manifold from a garage down in England, and I've had that installed. One other modification I've made as well is to the stereo. I did want to put in a new style kind of Android Auto or Apple CarPlay device. However, what I quickly realised was that it was going to be difficult because the air conditioning controls are actually part of the touchscreen functions. So if I got rid of the factory head unit, I would get rid of the air conditioning functionality. So I did a wee bit of research on the forums, and thankfully somebody came back to me with a comment to say that you can buy a Bluetooth receiver. And basically what you do, you take out the head unit and disconnect the CD player, and in that same CD connector you put in the Bluetooth receiver, and it connects to your phone so you can play your music and you can receive phone calls as well. You got a microphone that came with it, and because it's connected into the CD player, you can work the volume and change tracks through the steering wheel controls, which is quite handy. And it also just keeps everything kind of factory look as it was. So yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's turned out. Going forward, I don't really anticipate doing much else to it, to be honest. I may consider getting the underneath sealed, because it is fairly robust. It's fairly rust proof underneath, but I'd just like to get it protected. The car could potentially sit a wee bit lower in the alloys. However, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole of trying to fiddle with the ride height and adjust balances and you know what I mean, spacers and all this kind of stuff. I think it's comfortable enough ride as it is, and I'm happy with it at the moment. I don't know how long I'm going to have it for. However, I'm happy that I have it, and I just want to keep it in as good a condition as I can, give it a bit more life, a bit more longevity, just enjoy it while I can, and hopefully pass it on to someone else who will also enjoy it. Thanks for watching the video. If you have any more questions or want to know anything more about the car, please drop me a message or a comment and I'll try and get back to you. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching. Please like and subscribe.